and BJ Ward. So we are going to do sort of a Q&A type thing, but first I'm just going to ask a few questions to sort of get to know them a little bit better. You both are known for your musical careers and for your voices, but first and foremost, you're people. So what were your favorite cartoons growing up as a child?
I never watched them.
Okay.
I didn't even know the people that did the voices were not the cartoons. You know, I was like, oh, what? And then when I came to California and somebody said, you know, voiceover, I said, I don't know what that is. And I went to a workshop with Dolph Butler, who was, I didn't even know, like one of the giants in the business, and Joan Gerber. And I just started having fun fooling around with it, and then I found myself in the right place at the right time, getting into the business. So it's a surprise to me.
Excellent. Voice acting. What was the first role you landed? Do you recall?
I actually, when I was went to New York out of high school, and I wanted to be in this show called The Fantastics. And but I was working during the summer at this like music editorial services. And this is how I even knew about voiceovers. One day we went in to do a title tune, and all I was doing was technical stuff, like cutting the film and putting things in the library. And we went into this big studio, and there was this big cartoon that had come down from Canada called Hercules, and it was really big. And they said, oh, this is the man of 1,000 voices. And he was playing the women's parts, and they were not really up to snuff, you know. He'd be like, and they said, and I was sitting and I went, geez, I could even do better than that. And they said, oh, why don't you just loop the line? And I thought, I don't know what that is, but sure, I'll give it a try. And they said, put the cans on and listen for the, third beat. And then I had to fit it into the rhythm of the thing, and I thought, well, this is easy. But I didn't even know it was a business where you could do anything with it. And then when I went to California, somebody said, you ever done a voiceover? And I went, oh, sure. Anyway, that's what I did.
Well, that's great.
It's not a career, I find, and I don't know if you find this, Samantha, but it's not one straight direction. It's been a lot of course correction. I was not going to do voiceovers. I was a singer and an actress, and I was going to go to Broadway. And then all of a sudden now I'm doing these cartoons for 40 years. And that's how it kind of works. And I think especially as a woman in the business, you have to be pretty versatile. Like if you can sing, if you can do this, because most of the work is for men, of course. There'll be 9 men and maybe 1 woman, like the old scientist or the young girl. And so we're lucky if we get to, do that. So how old were you when you first started singing? You said you were 8, probably, and I was probably about 5 or 6, but nobody wanted to hear me sing. I was just playing in my garage, and I would put on these shows, and I'd invite everybody in the neighborhood. And I wouldn't let any of the other kids do anything because I'd say, oh no, I'll pull the curtain. Oh, don't worry. And so I was real bossy. But I always wanted to put on shows, and I thought, that's what I want to do, is put on shows. So I always sang, and then I took off about 10 years and sang opera and toured around the country doing that with a 1-person show. And like I said, going from a duck voice to singing opera was just a big, bizarre thing. But I sort of followed the fun. And this was definitely fun.
Yeah. Now, BJ, I came across a record. I'm pretty sure it's yours. It's called Vocalese.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, from 1970 approximately?
74.
74?
Vocalese, I made it in Holland. But I made a lot of albums. And then I also sang backup for people in Las Vegas, Tahoe, Reno, and I sang in the Dick Clark Good Old Days of Rock and Roll, and I sang for all these country stars, and I wear these little chamois suits with bare, navels and long hair, and swayed back and forth and ooh and ah. So I kind of went that way for a while, and then I decided to stay home, and that's when somebody said, do you want to go to a voiceover class? And I went, oh, let's try that. What the hell?
That's great.
So I say to people that say, well, how do I get into voiceover? I say, if you're doing improv, if you can sing, if you dance, if you whatever, it all will come in handy somewhere along the line. and it'll take you somewhere else, and then maybe you'll find that way.
Perfect. All right, so we're going to open it up to any questions out there. What advice would you give to little girls? And this is for both of you.
I think that little girls are very special, and I think that you have to follow your heart, and sometimes, oh, I know you, and then sometimes people go, oh, you can't play baseball, you're only a girl, or you're only a girl, and I say, you just say, I'm so happy to be a girl, and girls rule, that's what I say. And anything you can think you can do, if you put the work in it, you can probably do it.
I imagine that you guys understand your characters pretty implicitly after doing a lot of lines. Did you ever come across any lines that you absolutely knew were just absolutely wrong for the character and did not want to do them?
I think some of the real superstars when I did Scooby-Doo, like Casey Kasem, or they would change things, and this became kind of an interesting thing. He was a vegetarian, and he did not eat meat, he did not wear leather, he didn't have, and of course Scooby and the bone and the thing, and I'd say, can you do, will you do it for 2 Scooby snacks? And Casey would say, does he have to have a bone? Could he get like, I don't know, a vegetable or something? We'd go, well, Casey, he's a dog. Yeah, but we don't have, and then he'd feel sometimes if they were typically stereotyped, like the bad guy was Middle Eastern, he'd go, why does he have to be sneaky? Because he was Lebanese. So, he made little changes like that, and he could do it because he was Casey. And if there was anything offensive, I would say something. Very rarely was there, but I'd say, I think that's just, I don't think she'd really say that because it's so mean. And they always listen to you, and sometimes they just want you to say, well, it's good to see you again. And and you feel like it's a little stilted, and you go, hey, it's good to see you again. And they go, well, that's better. So mostly they let you just add some things, and they want you to make it better. Yeah.
A couple years ago, my daughter, who was then 5, and we rediscovered you through Curious George. And I wanted to know, I just heard a character speaking and thought, it's B.J. Ward, how awesome. So how did you get involved with that project?
Well, I guess they had a part for an aunt who was very, very sweet, but she's the kind of aunt that's like, oh, George, be careful of that paint. Oh, George. She's always trying to be careful. And then sometimes I wouldn't be in the show for months, and I'd say, and her name is Aunt Margaret. And I'd say, you sure it's not Anne Margaret? No, it's Aunt Margaret, BJ. And I'd say, well, I haven't heard from her. Is she on life support or something? Because is she still alive? And there's no Aunt Margaret's out of the hospital. And then I'd get to go into another one. But I guess I just auditioned for it. Sometimes in the old days, you didn't have to audition because they knew you work, and you used to give them 3 voices for the price of 1, and then it went down to 2 voices. So if there was a scientist or a little boy or the next door neighbor, you had to kind of change your voice a little bit, and you'd throw it in rather than calling in another actor.
Did you read alone, or did you get to read with the other characters in the show?
In the old days, we used to be able to sit around like an old radio show around the mic, and it's so much better because you can play scenes with your partner. But the problem is, most actors, if they haven't done voiceover, they'll start to do the scene like, Jim, I don't know. And that's why I think you're... So you have to play the scene and say, Jim, look at me. You're not looking at me. I'm trying to say, Jim. But you can't look. And so it's just creating this little world with your piece of paper. And then sometimes when the show was going on and on, like The Simpsons, and people got really, really busy doing other projects, they would pick you up, which meant you'd have to do it all by yourself, which is harder because you don't know what that other actor would have given you. And sometimes you could have gotten something out of what they said that would change your inflection. When I did some Smurfs, Jonathan Winters would be in the show, or Paul Winchell, or when they did Aladdin, once in a while you get to work with Robin Williams, or, and just to be in their presence and hear the brilliance that just got thrown away, that you'd never hear, the tape wasn't on, and they would usually give Jonathan 10 minutes. the director would say, okay, Jonathan, because he'd be talking, and they had to stop the recording, and they say, we'll give you 10 minutes. He'd, well, you know what I went to, and he'd tell those characters. So it was just, you felt so fortunate to be there to hear this.
Who would you say you learned the most from that helped you hone your craft? And who was it that you watched do their work that you were just amazed by?
When I came to California, I went to a recording session that was from a comedian named Bill Dana, who used to do The Astronaut. I forget what the character's name was. And I went to see this recording session with Joan Gerber, Frank Welker. This was about 50 years ago or 40 years ago. Frank Welker, Lenny Weinrib, June Foray. I didn't even know I was in the presence of these masters. And I would hear them do scenes with themselves. Frank would be like this. Back and forth. And I go, how can people do that? What? Yeah, so I started studying with Joan Gerber, and I said, I'd love to follow you around. I don't know what I'm doing, but come on. And she let me do that, and then I said the same to Dawes Butler. And so you just soak up everything you can soak up, you know. And then when you first start, you only have one voice. You have your voice that you have, like, welcome to Denny's, whatever your voice is. And I got a cartoon called The Jan of the Jungle. And when I got to the session, it was my first cartoon, they said, okay, Janet, now you have to speak to all of the animals in their own tongue. And I was like, what? And I was sitting next to Michael Bell. And every time they say, okay, she's coming into a cave and there are bats in the cave. And I turned to Michael and go, help, help. And he'd say, whatever. And I was like on the job training. I just relied on him. And he said, well, what does a narwhal sound like? What do you think? Whatever. And you just try it. And because you already had the job, you thought, well, I didn't know I had to do this. Let's see what I have, you know.
Anything you want to promote that you want?
Well, I had done a lot of different things. I wrote a one-woman show that I took some time off and called Stand Up Opera, which was humor and opera, which I did for 10 years. And then I wrote a children's book called Farting Marty, with a really wonderful illustrator for Simon & Schuster. And, oh my God, he's got a copy of it.
There it is.
So I'm looking for the next kind of fun, adventurous thing that I can do while I'm doing the other voiceovers.
Great.